Hey everyone, welcome back. Hope you're having a fantastic day so far. So Hakeem Jeffries, the House Minority Leader for the Democrats, revealed the biggest threat to Social Security, and he actually made his own personal prediction that if Donald Trump is once again reelected in 2024, that Social Security could possibly be ending. Plus, according to the New York Times, they put out a new report showing that a deposition from 2012 where Robert F. Kennedy Jr., who is a presidential candidate running against both Biden and Trump, claimed that a parasite ate a partial amount of his brain, so we will be covering that as well. But before we go ahead and dive into the main content of today's video, if you wouldn't mind helping me out real quickly by just giving this video a like, that just helps out with the good old YouTube algorithm, and also consider subscribing to my channel if you have not already. Plus, if you would like to receive up to $200 in free stocks or $200 in free cash, in a pinned comment below, I will be leaving a link to Robinhood. All you have to do is once you click on that link is just sign up for a free account and then link your bank account. At that point, Robinhood will be sending you one free stock worth all the way up to $200. And if you'd really just have the cash, all you have to do is once you receive the free stock, is just sell it for what it's worth and then transfer the cash value right back to your bank account. Okay, so diving right into our lead story of today's video. And well, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is running for president against both Biden and Trump, and he is actually getting a decent amount of support according to polling. He's getting anywhere between 10 to 14%, possibly more, possibly less of support versus both Biden and Trump. And because of all this growing support, of course, there are different, magazines and media sort of trying to dig up old stories on him. And the New York Times found one. So I guess whenever he was going through a divorce proceeding against his ex-wife, he had made different claims. And there was a deposition, I guess the New York Times dug up, where he claimed that a parasite ate a part of his brain, and because of that, his future earnings could potentially be lower, and therefore should, I guess, owe less alimony because of that. So we're covering this article here by The Hill. So Robert F. Kennedy Jr. said that doctors told him a parasite ate a part of his brain after experiencing memory loss and brain fog in 2010. The New York Times reviewed a deposition of Kennedy from 2012 that detailed his experience with his symptoms and the dead parasite. The Times reported that Kennedy started dealing with memory loss and mental fogginess in 2010, prompting concerns from a friend the now presidential candidate may have a tumor. So Kennedy gave the 2012 deposition during divorce proceedings from his second wife, Mary Richardson Kennedy. Kennedy discussed his symptoms in the deposition because he argued his cognitive struggles and in relation to the situation had diminished his earning power, according to the Times report. And several doctors who had first concluded Kennedy had a tumor found a dark spot on his brain scans, the Times reported. However, just as he was packing up to have surgery and remove the tumor, he said in the deposition that another doctor called him and told him he believed Kennedy instead had a dead parasite in his brain. The doctor told him he believed the spot on the brain scan was caused by a worm that got into my brain and ate a portion of it and then died, Kennedy reportedly said in the deposition. So, what an odd story. What a terrible, awful thing to happen. I can't even imagine going through that if you're Robert F. Kennedy Jr. And because of that, now we have, Biden and, or not necessarily Biden, but those backing Biden saying, well, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is attacking Biden for his mental cognitive decline. Yet we have here, in a report from just 12 years ago, where it's showing that a parasite ate a part of Kennedy's brain. RFK Jr. is now coming out and saying that this was 12 years ago, that he's completely fine now and much better off than Biden. But leave your thoughts in comments below. Now, in some other news, of course, Marjorie Taylor Greene tried to remove Mike Johnson from his House Speaker role yesterday. And well, in grand expected fashion, she did fail, pretty poorly, as not only did the majority of Republicans vote to keep Mike Johnson in his speaker role, but we also had the majority of Democrats as well. So according to The Hill, GOP Dems show rare unity in killing green motion. So the House on Wednesday voted overwhelmingly to protect Speaker Mike Johnson from a conservative coup, torpedoing an effort by Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene to oust the GOP leader from the top job for his willingness to cut deals with Democrats on weighty legislation. The chamber voted 359 to 43 to 7 on a motion to table or dismiss Greene's motion to vacate resolution, preventing the removal proposal from being considered. In an extraordinary move in the deeply divided House, 163 Democrats, more than 3/4 of their caucus, voted to keep Johnson in power, and in a demonstration of the GOP support for Johnson, only 11 conservative Republicans voted to send Greene's motion to the floor. The chamber erupted in boos on both sides of the aisle when Greene began reading her resolution. So, obviously, Greene was not very happy that Johnson did not secure any funding for the border or lock our border up, yet we're sending all this money abroad, more money to Ukraine. Republicans, or at least some Republicans, believe that Johnson is working more with Democrats, and Democrats in large part because Johnson worked with them on sending more aid to Ukraine. Of course, he protected Johnson from losing his speaker job, unlike what they did with Speaker Kevin McCarthy, where they voted to remove him from his role. Now, in some other House news, of course, we had the House Minority Leader, the Democrat and Hakeem Jeffries. He made a pretty dire prediction about the future of Social Security, where he said that perhaps that could also be on the ropes, just like abortion is, that it could be very possible that Social Security could be ending as well. This is a prediction that he made. So we're going to be covering this article here by Newsweek. And I guess he was on 60 Minutes is when he said these things. So according to Newsweek, Supreme Court ruling reveals Social Security threat, Hakeem Jeffries. So the Supreme Court's June 2022 ruling overturning of Roe v. Wade shows that, quote, extreme MAGA Republicans could threaten Social Security, Medicare, and even American democracy itself. According to the House Minority Leader and Hakeem Jeffries, the New York Democrat made the charge during a 60 Minutes interview with CBS News correspondent Norah O'Donnell on Sunday, which also covered the Israel-Hamas war in Gaza, a threat to Mike Johnson's House speakership, and whether black voters are turning away from President Joe Biden. He said, quote, it's going to be an incredibly significant issue because on its own it's about freedom, and the extreme MAGA Republicans have set in motion the erosion of reproductive freedom. We're going to fight for it with everything that we got at our disposal. And Jeffries went on to suggest that the overturning of Roe indicates other rights or governmental programs could also be threatened. He said, quote, if Roe versus Wade can fall, anything can fall. Social Security can fall, Medicare can fall, voting rights can fall, and God help us all, but democracy itself can fall. If Roe versus Wade can fall, then anything can fall. Now, just my opinion here, I think he's being, very overdramatic. We've seen for years Republicans against Roe versus Wade. Right now, Republicans aren't against Social Security. They're coming out and saying that anyone at or nearing the full retirement age, they're not going to raise the full retirement age for them. And anyways, in Roe versus Wade, that just sent kind of like the rights back to the states. It didn't make it like a federal issue. It made it a state issue. So I don't agree with Hakeem Jeffries here. I don't think that they're going to get rid of Social Security. Sure, they could do things like raising the full retirement age for people below the age of, like, say, 45, perhaps 40, up to 69 or 70, and that could be unfair for them. But getting rid of Social Security altogether, it's too important of a program. All Americans, including Republicans, Democrats, Independents, everyone loves Social Security. They're not going to pay into the system all their lives and then not receive benefits. It would just simply be unfair. So I don't think this is something to really be all that concerned about. But leave your thoughts and comments below on that. That's all I have for today's video. I certainly hope that you enjoyed and found value out of it. If you did, again, I would greatly appreciate it if you could give this video a like. Consider subscribing to my channel if you have not already. And I will see you in the next video.